Good morning and welcome to my left ear. I'm Carrie Freeman. This is video 192. It's February 6th, 2024. And if you're new, this is a left-leaning political channel with predictions and runes. And I do have runes readings for today. As some of you know, because you read in my community section, my MacBook Pro died and I had to replace it like the same day. And I've been running into a lot of syncing problems and finding passwords and all kinds of things. And they were not able to install Microsoft Word. So today, what I'm reading is very difficult to read. I did it in something called Pages, but I'm not able to work with it very much. So excuse me if my delivery and my reading is faltering today, but I really missed you and I wanted to come in and say hello. And I should be getting everything normalized in the next 3 or 4 days. So here we go. Big news this morning, you probably know. I'm just gonna read it. That yay, okay, yay. Trump has no immunity from the January 6th prosecution. Fist pump. The appeals court ruled this. A federal appeals court has unanimously ruled that Donald Trump can be put on trial for trying to stay in power after losing the 2020 election, rejecting Trump's sweeping delusional claim, they didn't write delusional, of presidential immunity and moving the case one step closer to a jury trial. And I have some runes on this below in a minute. We'll go into it a little bit. Now today, because of my computer challenges, I'm going to do 3 runes readings. It's going to be a little shorter just so I could get going and, we could see each other and communicate. Something caught me. Something is really in my craw, as they say, and it's Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas. I just can't say enough terrible things about him. But I don't know if you heard this. There have been more than 26,000 pregnancies in Texas resulting from rape since Texas outlawed abortion with no rape exceptions. That's stunning and that's tragic. And then a long time ago, maybe a year or 2 ago, Abbott claimed he would stop all rapes in the state after signing the ban. It's just nutty. So to add to this horribleness from Greg Abbott, it's not enough that he let 3 people drown in the Rio Grande while officials were forced to just watch it. It's kind of hard to fathom. But about the gun situation, he's keeping the drinking age at 21 in Texas, but he's just reduced the age for purchasing guns from 21 to 18. From 21 to 18 years old. And here's something even worse. Texas has no state firearms sales registry, no required waiting period to buy a gun, no red flag law guarding against the mentally ill or violent having weapons, no restrictions on the size of ammunition, magazines, and no background checks for guns purchased in a private sale. Yeah, I really said that. I really read that. And then I was like, well, what's the soonest we can get rid of this guy? And this is kind of very upsetting, but I'll just share this with you. The 2026 gubernatorial election is scheduled to take place on November 3rd, 2026, to elect the governor of Texas. Now, here's the kicker. Texas does not have a gubernatorial term limit in its constitution. So he can just keep running until the right candidate stops him. It's a nightmare, a nightmare. I had no idea there were states that had no restrictions on, like, a governor running over and over and over again. So he's a pretty wicked, horrible guy. And I just had to talk about it, kind of get it off my chest, because the Texas is just so horrible. Did I ever tell you I was born there? I'm not proud of it. I was born in Dallas. So here's something interesting. A grand jury subpoena has been issued by the DOJ, special counsel Jack Smith, to the office of the Sergeant at Arms for documents, and the office is set to comply. No problem there. And so, for my own edification, I looked up the officer in arms, Sergeant in Arms, because I wanted to get a perfect explanation, not just for me, but for you. So, as Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the Senate, the Sergeant at Arms is charged with maintaining security at the Capitol and all Senate buildings, protecting the members of Congress, and enforcing all rules of the Committee on Rules and Administration, regulating the Senate wing of the Capitol and the Senate office. That Sergeant in Arms is complying, and there's a sense that this is opening up. This is the beginning of investigating the insurrectionists in the Senate and the House. Now this guy is in charge of the Senate, okay? It says maintaining security in the Capitol and all Senate buildings. So I'm not sure, protecting the members of Congress. So I'm not sure where he fits in with the actual House. But this is good because it's investigating. Now it's getting closer to the insurrectionists in the Senate and the House. And without being able to confirm this, there was a story on Twitter that he's gearing up to charge Marjorie Taylor Greene, but one has to think that it's not just her. It's other members of Congress also, but there might be something special about her that they want to grab her early. So this is a good sign. This is more investigation. It's getting closer to the House and the Senate. Everybody wants this. We got to get some of these people out. And my left ear believes we will. So I asked the runes, now we're into something new. We're about the border and immigrants in Texas. So I asked the runes, is the border collapse a done deal? And that's between the Senate and the House and the Democrats, really trying to make it happen, because the word on the street is this proposal that the Democrats or the Biden agreed upon, and a lot of Democrats, but not all Democrats, it will not get any better for the GOP. This is like great for the GOP. And the reason Biden is doing it, because he wants to get money to Ukraine and other places, okay? So I asked, and so is it a done deal? It looks like a done deal as of today, meaning it's not a deal at all. Like it's crashing because, pastor, speaker, pervert, insurrectionist, little man, Mikey Johnson is singularly holding it up. And he's holding it up because he's taking direct instructions from Donald Trump. But I'll tell you what, he's now a known insurrectionist. He was a major planner, and he's going to get his visit from Jack Smith. However Jack Smith does it, Little Mikey's going to go in front of the grand jury at some point, and he better not lie. He can't do that. So the border, is it a done deal? Is there any chance? You know, I've predicted these the threat of the whole government shutdown, and I've been right 3 times. This one I'm not sure about. It's so wavering. And all right. So the first rune I pulled was the rune of separation in the reversed position, boing, the reversed position. And it talks about retreat, and you, I, them may be called to undertake a radical departure. And that feels like it may be the Democrats that are forced to take a radical departure. And I don't know personally what kind of executive choices Joe Biden can make. Then this is even more interesting and leaves us just floundering. I got the rune, the blank rune. The blank rune has no writing on it. And I got it twice because I did 3 pulls. So the last 2 were the blank rune twice. So the blank rune is unknowable. Literally, that's what it says. And it says blank is the end and blank is the beginning. And it can portend a death. Now, it can be a metaphorical death. It doesn't have to be a literal death. I believe this is metaphorical. Like that proposal is probably dead. And it says relinquishing control is the ultimate challenge. And it does bring up our deepest fears, and it calls for an act of courage. It is the path of karma. And it is so threatening. People in Ukraine, the soldiers are suffering. They're getting some packages from other places. So I guess we're going to have to wait. But generally, I'm going to say, I think this is dead. I think they were behind the House GOP were behind closed doors. Mitch McConnell gave up. Mitch is getting very bad reviews today. He just gave up and said, okay, it's over. And he walked out. That's all we know so far. Then I asked, and I want you to know, there are a lot of questions to ask, but since this is my first time back with the new computer and all the complications I'm having, I'm kind of getting this out as best I can. We're going to get better and better. I'm going to get better and better. So here's another question. What is the energy around the House and Senate subpoenas regarding January 6th? Because this is I really want to know when he's going to start to nail the House and the Senate insurrectionists, the really bad guys. That's why I asked it. And I got harvest. And harvest is fertile season. That feels like you're damn straight Jack is doing this. And a lot of people have been very fearful. I personally have not. I have continuously felt that he's doing things systematically, and the House and Senate would eventually come into frame. And I think it is right now. So fertile season, beneficial outcomes. You like that? But no quick results with harvest. There can be a wait with harvest. And it could be, don't panic, up to 1 year. However, my left ear thinks it is sooner than 1 year, okay? And I just left it there because it was so good. When you get harvest and fertile season and beneficial outcomes, the answer is, yeah, it's happening, okay? And then I had read this thing about Marjorie Taylor Greene might be coming into focus for her lots of her bad deeds. A lot of people think she's the bomber. I haven't asked the runes. We'll find out. I may ask them when things settle down a little bit. Now we're going to get to the immunity thing that I announced at the beginning a few minutes ago. Will Scotus, because once the appeals court says no immunity, buddy, they will appeal to Scotus, the Supreme Court. So the question is, the Supreme Court can just go, no, thank you. We agree with your ruling, and we're going to move on. We're not going to spend our time on this. And it's entirely possible that will happen. That Scotus will go, we want nothing to do with this, because they still have to figure out the 14th Amendment, and if the states can take Trump off the ballot, and that's a heavy one. So here's what I asked. Will SCOTUS refuse the immunity appeal after the DC Appeals Court voted no? No immunity for you, buddy. So I got the rune of Journey. And Journey is about something that has two sides. So I think that's so interesting. The Appeals Court and SCOTUS, two sides. Two elements. It is a union that comes at the end of the journey. So that's why I'm interpreting a really good chance that SCOTUS will say, no, you handled it, we approve, bye-bye. And that's the end of the journey that we're talking about. So this situation with immunity, which shouldn't have been a big deal, it was like a farcical. It was a farce, okay? That just means, will you make the president a dictator? I mean, nuts, shouldn't have been taking up time, blah, blah, blah. But now it's getting shut down. That's a good thing. So Journey is concerned with nothing less than unobstructed, perfect union. Both courts are in sync, no immunity. If and when, if I'm correct, that SCOTUS says, no, thank you, that this is a waste of our time, because we're going to agree with you. That's huge. That means the DC trial with Judge Chutkan about January 6th insurrection will probably move forward without further delay. Hello! I love that. Now, here's the thing. Same question. Will SCOTUS waive the immunity thing? Like, no, it's handled. I got the rune of disruption, but I got it twice. This has happened twice today. Twice. So, it's about change, freedom, invention, a need within the psyche to break free. And my left ear also, aside from the runes, thinks that SCOTUS is going to say, no, thank you. And this rune of disruption says everything you've taken for granted is being challenged. And that comment is like our freedom is being challenged. And it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Imagine, just think about this logically. SCOTUS is not going to turn around and say, well, no, we think the president should get immunity. They're not going to do it, okay? Now, because of all the problems I'm having and the print I'm looking at is really small, I can't do anything. I couldn't even print out the runes like I normally do with big, full readings. So I really am at a disadvantage, but at the end of the week, everything should kind of, return to normal. I do have a good evidence story, though, and we're at the end there, so I'm going to indulge a little bit, that I had a very interesting experience, which would be gigantic good evidence. I mean, it was really remarkable, and I've been having a lot of experiences of thinking of something. Oh, that would be nice, like I told you about seeing this guy at Starbucks and saying, wouldn't it be funny if he just turned around and offered me a cup of coffee, which he did. And then I had 2 or 3 more things like that happen. Well, this is kind of like this. So whatever it was last week, my keyboard on my old computer started to type gobbledygook. I couldn't type a letter. I couldn't type anything. And I had spilled some stuff previously on my keyboard. So I couldn't do anything. It was inoperable. So I went, okay, I got to go. So I looked up Mac places right near me in a little classy little town called Toluca Lake. And I called up and they said, oh, we're open at 11, you know, blah, blah, blah. It got really good reviews. It wasn't a Mac Apple store, but it was a Mac specialist. And so nobody answered, but it says we're open at 11. I called it like 11:05 or 11:08 or something. I said, well, I'm just going to drive over there because it's really close. So I drove over there, parked the car, walked around to the front door, and there's a big sign on the door that says, I just stepped out for 15 minutes. Well, it didn't say what time the person stepped out. So I looked, I saw nobody coming, and I went, okay, I'm going to give up here. I'm going to keep going. So then I drove to the Apple store, the Mac store in a shopping center in Sherman Oaks. And I parked, I walked in, and the guy says, oh, it'll be a 5-hour wait, and we can text you later. So I left, and I went, oh my God, a 5-hour wait. I got to get a computer. So I went to Best Buy, and I thought Best Buy was certified for Apple in a way that makes them almost like going to an Apple store, but it's not. But I bought this Mac. It's not a Pro, it's an Air, so it's very light and easy to travel with. And when I went to pick up the transfer, they said, we couldn't install your Microsoft because we need your Apple ID. And I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the Apple ID. I didn't know what it was. And then they said, well, we can't do anymore. We can't do anything. And we can't do anything to help you find. You're going to have to call this number, call Apple Care. It can take a long time, blah, blah, blah. And I'm, oh my God. So by this time, I'm exhausted and discouraged. So I came home and I got into bed. I did. I just got into bed. Like, I can't handle this. I'm gonna take a nap. So I laid down for an hour. I didn't really sleep. So I said, okay, let's get up. Now, this is the good evidence part. This is the interesting part. I tried to make an appointment for this Apple store that was told me come back in 5 hours, and for the Genius bar to see if I could get help with this new one. And it was going to be 8 days. It was going to be 8 days before I got an appointment at the Genius bar. That's how busy they are. And that's what made me go to bed, because I'm like, I need this for my clients, for my work, for my videos. Is kind of horrible. So my left ear, after my nap, my pseudo nap, said, take that new computer, get in your car, and just drive to the Mac store, even though they can't see you for 8 days. Just do it. So when I get those messages, I went, oh, okay, because it was very clear. Okay, this is a little nutty. And I did it. I drove over there, and my voice, my left ear is saying, you know, it's actually going to be okay. So I'm like, blindly. So I approached the Mac store, which is on the second floor of the shopping center, and it's jammed with people. And it was like 5:30 on a Saturday. But as I approached the Mac store, there's one guy standing at the front at one of their displays, like just looking. And when he saw me, he kind of nodded and smiled. And I said, you're not available, right? And he went, yeah, I'm available. What do you need? Can you believe it? Do you know what a miracle that is? I mean, that was, unbelievable. Well, not only that, he was the smartest, nicest guy. And I told him my problem. Well, I walked up and I said, I don't even know if he'll help me. So I said, look, what would it be if I returned this computer at Best Buy and I started new and I bought a computer from you because this is the problem I'm having? And he went, oh, okay. My mother had this lost her ID, Apple ID. And so this guy stood there. We opened up the new computer and he just kept asking me questions and prompts. Well, let's try this and let's do that and let's try this. He was tall, nice looking, clean cut guy. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he was like 30. And during the course of us talking and him being so patient and attentive and like really good natured, like really friendly and warm, he tells me, number one, that he's an actor. And, you know, that's my whole background. And he just published his first book, a novel. So I went, great. We're in the same tribe, this guy. His name, I don't know if I should tell his name because he said, you don't have to buy a computer today. I can help you with this. Don't go to return that. We can do this. And he prompted me so much that literally my subconscious opened up and I went, wait a minute. I want to try one more password. I have a hunch. So it was like there should have been movie music that came up. And I typed this password in and like we waited and it worked. Found my Apple ID. So he helped me with a few more things and I left. I couldn't believe it. We made friends. So he told me about his book and he told me, I don't know why this came out of me, but it was so friendly. And he was so intelligent that at some point I looked at him, I said, by the way, Biden's going to win. And he went, I said, I'm psychic and I'm just telling you this. And he went, oh my God, I've been so worried. And so we talked about that for a minute. And then he tells me about his book and he tells me the name of the book and what it's about. And I went, I have such a good feeling about this book. And when I get these hits, they're correct. And he was kind of afraid to believe me. But I said, listen, you remember me because when Biden wins, you're going to get a good hit on what's going to happen with your book. And I'm telling you, don't forget me. Just a great guy. It's just, he was an angel. Do you get that? He was an angel. And the fact that he was free amidst just a crowd of people in that, it was as if he was standing there and just, well, I guess I need to wait for Carrie. It's unbelievable. So I'm just, yeah. So I wanted to tell you that he really saved my life. And by the way, if you forget your Apple ID, it is a huge hassle because Apple takes, they take their security like more serious than any other computer company. It's really top notch, their security. So at any rate, I have to go back and get my Microsoft installed now that I have my Apple ID. And that's when I will be able to get my old projects back and my template for my shows that I do for you. So I just did the best I could today. And I hope you're happy to see me. And I looked up a quote and I am concerned. I've shared this quote before, but I can't copy and paste stuff right now. So it's okay. It's a really good quote. It's by Bill Nye, the science guy. And he simply said, everyone you will meet knows something that you don't. And then I added, my left ear added, be curious. You know, I have an issue about curiosity. I don't think that people are curious enough about other people. I don't think they know how to ask questions or just, all I can say is be curious because everyone you will meet knows something that you don't. So I really like that from Bill Nye. All right. I'm going to get back to my Patreon also. Thank you for your patience. Not one person dropped me. And if you're still listening, please subscribe and like. And I will be back and I'll have my act together. And this no immunity thing is a really good day. It's really, really good. We needed it. Things have to move forward. Yay, yay, yay. So, you know, my left ear thinks that Trump is going to probably be found guilty in the Bragg case with the Stormy Daniels and the DC case with Chutkan, because we're told that Jack Smith has information we have not even heard about yet. And that should be pretty damn interesting. And there will be microphones in the courtroom. All right. So peace and blessings. And thank you. And I'll talk to you soon. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.